Hela, welcome. Let's talk about what under Sweden Reserve Stridsvagnar, or in English literally, the battle carriages. Tanks actually. Namely, Landsberg produced Stridsvagn Model 30 and Model 38. By the terms of mid-30s, those were well-developed tanks, especially M38, which was considered one of the best tanks in production right before the Second World War. Previous M31 was more like a proof of a concept, which was built in a quantity of 3 units total. Now, I don't want to go deeper into real history because in the game, M31 and M38, two standard issue Sweden ground vehicles, certainly behave not like someone would guess looking at their historical descriptions. Surprisingly, according to my statistics, M31 performs in the game better than M38. Not only it's a bit more agile, but also more successful in scoring the kills. Like for 30% more successful. And why that? Well, let's look at the details. M31 has a more powerful engine, a bit more armor than M38, plus the crew for M31 consists of 4 members, while in the M38 there are only 3. Theoretically, the max speed of M38 should be a bit higher, but in the game, the torque power, the ability to start faster, turn faster, and switch to reverse speed faster means much more than those supposed +5, +10 kilometers per hour in max speed. Since the main gun of both tanks is similar and M31 is a bit more agile and slightly better armored, it's obviously a better tank out of two. But if we'll try to compare them with pairs of reserve tanks from all other nations, the difference actually is not that relevant. Stridsvagnar, both, are quite quick tanks with decent gun and even a bit of armor. They are not the fastest, but they will be not far away from American M2R4 or Soviet BT5. Their gun is certainly not the meanest, but with the latest subcaliber projectile Spalius Panzer Projectile M13, an armor-piercing discarding sabot, you can use those things to the very top of the second rank, with battle ratings like 4.0. But you need to be very good with your aim, because this sabot does minimum after penetration damage. Speaking of the armor and overall survivability, well, it's quite similar to the most other tanks of the first rank. Almost everything can break you, even the machine guns, so you'll be very lucky to survive at least indirect hits. Unlike Germans and Britons, you don't have a smoke to cover your retreat, but the reverse speed is quite decent, as well as the overall maneuverability, especially after you unlock all the modifications. In the stock condition, it's quite mediocre, quite similar to Panzer 35 Czechish German reserve. A bit boring maybe, but ends better than Japanese or French reserves. Plus, unlike most other nations, with one faster reserve tank and one slower, Swedish M31 and M38 are more or less similar by all conditions. You need to master low damage, of course, especially with using sabots. You need to aim for most obvious spots like the gunner, the driver, the engine, or you can always switch to Swedish dish cleaners like that Stormpias 33, 34. Anyways, the best of luck to you all. Farewell.